You been all right?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. Thanks for having me on.
That's okay. You. Well, what a busy day today. Do you know what? I haven't done nothing today. Nothing at all. I just sat around all day on my computer,
Mm.
kind of like doing um, a few interviews, um, some Zoom meetings, and that was it. And I haven't even time to brush my hair.
Yeah.
How about that? Anyway, good evening, Kerry. How are you?
Good evening, Steve. I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell everybody of my audience
Yes.
about you, please?
Yeah. Okay. So I am a companion animal bereavement counsellor based in Bolton, Greater Manchester, and I'm a former veterinary care assistant. And I did
Right.
that for about 16 years, and then I set up my own pet bereavement counselling service.
Why bereavement counselling for pets?
Because when I was working in veterinary practice, I started when I was 18 and I saw my very first euthanasia and I was absolutely traumatized. And I just thought, if I feel this bad and it isn't even my pet, then how do the owners feel? And I'd seen a few owners over the years that were sent home after losing a companion that had either little to no support afterwards. And I just thought that that wasn't right. There was more we should and could be doing. So I trained in pet bereavement counselling in 2001 and been doing it ever since. So
Mm,
yeah, I just felt it was important to do and use my years of experience of working in the vets to help my clients pre and post loss.
yeah, well done. I used to one years ago. I had a dog, and we had it for around about 15 years. We called it Ringo,
Oh yeah,
and it was we got it as a puppy, and then it got bigger, and it was well trained. It used to go to, if it wanted to go for a week, you used to go to the door and everything,
yeah,
scratch on the door. It was so, really trained dog,
yeah.
really nice, nice family dog. And then after the years gone by, my mum died. Then I
Mm.
think it's about 2 weeks after that, the dog died. And the trouble is, when you know, when you got somebody like an animal, like a dog or whatever it is, and you had it for a long, long time,
Mm.
it could be really, really sad when you lose a close pet, can it?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely.
How do you kind of like deal with it? Because you know, if it was me, I would find it very difficult.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is hard, but when I'm doing a consult with somebody, I find that I do well up. You know, I'm only human, and like when people are telling me the story, I do get a bit teary eyed. But
Mm,
I have like my professional head on, and I can sort of step out, and I suppose I'm able to handle it there and then because that person needs me to just be there and listen and support. You know, be strong. Well, not so much be strong for them, but they're the ones that are upset. You know, they should be the ones that are being supported. I don't want them having to support me, you know, because I'm getting upset at their tail. But when I'm not working, I'll be watching, you know, stories off Facebook or a video, and it'll be about a pet dying, and I'll be in floods. And I think that's all the emotion that I hold in during a session,
mm,
coming out. But I think at the end of the day, the main way I cope with it is that this person's going through such a difficult time and they've trusted in me to help them. And I don't know, it, you get this strength from somewhere and you're able to help. It doesn't mean that after the session I'm not sad and sometimes I need to do something happy. You know, there was one session I had that was really harrowing, and I had to go off and do something. I was packing some rainbow coloured envelopes for a bit. I was like, I just need to do something colourful and bright, and that doesn't take too much mind and thinking. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is difficult, but you know, you get used to it over the years. You develop ways of
Mm,
coping.
mm. I cried for ages. What we had to get rid of ours was because um, she only had like one leg, and
Oh,
one leg, and it was affected really bad, and they said, well, we
mm,
got to put her down and everything. But the trouble is, when you got it's like I know somebody who had a dog for years,
yeah.
golden retriever, and they had one for like, gosh, so many years, and she was like an elderly lady, and it was her only friend, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And when she died, she turned around and she said, Steve, it's like, now, the dog's gone. I feel like going too because that's my only friend.
oh,
So
mm.
it does affect us, doesn't it?
It does, and it's like I've got this motto where I say that loss is a loss no matter the species, because there are some people out there who'll say, well, you can't really compare a loss of a pet to the loss of a human relative. But for me, there's no difference. You've still lost a family member. It doesn't matter whether they had fur, scales, wings, what have you. Um, and the bond is completely different, though. So you're with them all the time, and they're reliant on you for their well-being, and there's an unconditional bond there, and it's a different relationship to what you would have with
Mm,
a human family member. So of course when you lose them, it hurts, it's horrible. You've lost a part of yourself, and I
mm,
think that's what some people struggle to understand, is that just because it's a pet doesn't mean that the loss is any less valid you
mm,
know
mm. I think we've got to take it more seriously too about pet bereavement because
mm,
when some people don't take it, they think, oh well, my budgie died, or something would get another budgie to replace it. But
mm,
the trouble is, it's like losing a parent in it.
mm.
You only got one parent at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
you can't replace them, or you
No,
can't.
no.
It's So how do you as a pet bereavement service, then
Mm.
how do you kind of like what is your procedure then? Someone comes to you and you
Mhm.
cancel them, do you?
Yeah, well, I use like counselling skills. So I will, what I do is before a session, I send out like a consent form and a questionnaire, which basically asks the name of the pet, age, how long they had the pet, the reason for the loss, and what they're struggling with the most. And the answers that they provide help me to help them during the session, because it means that I've already got like the history and the backstory, and we can just get stuck straight into the hard part, what they're struggling with. Um, and so what I'll do is I just let the client lead me sometimes. I'll just give them gentle prompts to get a conversation going. And then a lot of the time, clients just want to be heard.
Mm,
They just want someone to listen without interjecting and trying to offer them either like platitudes or solutions. Because often they know what they need to do to help themselves. They just need someone to vent to and to listen.
mm,
And then there'll be those clients that want me to listen, but also want a different viewpoint on what they're going through. So I try to offer a different perspective on what they're going through. So I'll say, okay, well, you look at it that way, but I see it this way. Have you thought of looking at it from this angle? And that usually they'll find, actually, that I hadn't thought of that before, and that sits better with me than how I was processing it and thinking about it. So that's yeah, that's sort of the way I go around it.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Is it a big issue then? Do you
Mm.
get a lot of clients kind of like contacting you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I've had 4 clients already this month, which is, extremely busy for me, because it's one of these services where it's, you wouldn't have a client every single day usually. Well, I tend not to, but I've noticed that since COVID hit and lockdowns, that people are needing services such as mine more, because there's no escape from the loss really. Whereas before you could go out, go and spend a few days away somewhere, or just go for a walk, or meet up with friends. All those sources of support and release have been stopped and put on hold. So I think more people are turning to people like myself to, someone that truly gets what they're going through.
mm, mm.
Mm,
Because when somebody loses a pet,
mm,
it's terrible, but also it's
mm.
kind of like it's a loss, isn't it?
It is,
Because
yeah,
it is definitely a loss.
yeah.
And there's a gap there that they've got to fill. And the trouble is, getting another pet. What do you recommend? Do you recommend getting another pet?
It depends on the individual, and there's no right or wrong, you know. And some people will say, when is the right time to take on a new companion? And honestly, there's no right or wrong way of going about it. What I would suggest is that rather than just going out and getting somebody another pet, thinking it'll help with the healing, is to just have an open, honest discussion with that person first, because they may, you might turn up on the doorstep with a new puppy. It's like, oh, we've lost your dog. Here's a new one, and they might not be emotionally ready yet. And
Mm,
although they'll accept this pup or kitten or whatever and love it, it's, if they're not ready, then it's not fair on either party. So I would talk about it first. But if you're the person that's lost a companion and you're thinking, I want to take on another pet, but I feel guilty, a lot of clients will say to me, I feel like I'm replacing them. I feel bad for even thinking about taking on a new pet. But the way I see it is that you can never replace the one you lost.
no.
All you replace is the normality of having a companion in the house. And if there's a pet out there waiting for you to heal them as much as they're healing you.
Mm,
And I think some people go out like a day or two after they've lost a companion and get a new one, and others it might be years before they even begin to feel ready. And honestly, there's no right or wrong. It's however you feel, whatever brings you comfort.
mm. Do you deal with the barrier side of things as well? Then?
Sorry.
Do you deal with the burying of the pet too? Then do you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I help clients with the thought processes behind what their options, and I'll help them come up with like options that they can go through. Having like a veterinary background, I can talk them through like cremation options and what they mean, and burial options, etc. So yeah, I mean, some clients will bury the pets, especially if obviously they own their own home.
Mm,
But I will offer tips for people that are in rented accommodation or temporary accommodation. But so yeah, we discuss all aspects of pet loss really.
mm. When I was a little child, I used
Mm.
to have a pet. No, I don't want you to laugh. I used to have a little pet, and my pet was a crab. Now you think I'm going to be winding you up? I am not winding you up. My family used to be in the fishing trade,
Mhm.
and I took a crab for a walk on a string once.
Oh,
See, you're laughing
that's
now.
brilliant. No, no, I think that's brilliant. I
You're
love
laughing
it.
now. And when I was little, when I was a little boy, so, and I
Yeah,
used to live. I was on the Barbican, and it was all fishing boats and everything
yeah.
in in Plymouth, and I was, you know, and the trouble is, the crab takes so slow,
I can
don't they?
imagine.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine it? Can you
yeah.
imagine a little boy with a crab?
That's
And my dad
awesome.
and my dad said, go take it for, and I used to call him Percy,
Oh, that's fab.
Percy the crab, right?
What a great name, yeah.
So he was, see my voice laughing at me because she's heard the story so many times. So I took it for a walk, and the street in Plymouth
Mm.
to go down to the Barbican because the Barbican's well famous. So
Yeah,
we used to have all the coaches going down there. We used to wave to them, and they used to wave back, stay by the window. And one day I was taking the thing, and all of a sudden a coach come down, and I had to run across the road. Poor Percy got squashed. He just died and got killed and everything. And what happened was I kind of like waited for the traffic to go by, and
yeah,
I picked all this stuff up. Oh, it was okay, and I carried it and I buried it into my mum's back garden.
yeah.
Okay, and I cried and I cried, and it went on for a few weeks, and my dad turned around and said, "I tell you what I'd do. I'd buy you a dog."
Mm.
But I didn't want the dog. I wanted Percy, the
Yeah.
crab, even though
Yeah.
it was odd at that particular time. So I've forgotten about it. So anyway, I was sitting in my front room one day watching the telly, and all of a sudden I could smell something. And by then we bought a cat. The cat
Mm.
went in the garden, dug up, bought the chlorine, part of the chlorine, and brought it into the house, and that
Mm.
was it. And my tears came down my face, and
Oh.
uh, and all because of a crab, and but it was
Mm.
just kind of like when I was a little boy, it was like,
Yeah.
it was my, my pet,
Oh yeah, yeah. You know,
Uh,
he mattered to you,
of
and
course
that's
he
why it
did, yeah,
hurt.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So, but the trouble is, and that's what I'm trying to get the point across is this, that whether
Mm.
it's a goldfish or whatever, it's like, I know somebody who's got ducks,
Yeah,
pets. Honestly, yeah, I
mm,
know someone's got ducks,
yeah.
and what else was it? Was it not duck? It was ducks and something else as well. Wasn't it? Geese. That was it. And
Mhm.
and and if one of them died or something, the person I know probably will get really kind of like upset. But we
Yeah,
do, don't we? If we're
yeah, we
close
do.
to
Yeah.
our pets get close to us, and we
Mm.
kind of like we really get upset.
Mm.
You know, I'm asking you a question now. How can we get over a pet that we lost?
Mm. Yeah. It's difficult. It really is, and it's not. There's no easy fix, and it's painful, and it can feel long and drawn out. But I always say the pain does lessen, and it lessens to a dull ache that we can live with. And it isn't something that you get over as such. It's not something you can avoid, and it's not something you can, push to one side or just gently like go over the top of. It is something you have to go straight through it, and that
Mm,
is the only way. You know, the only way is to face the pain head on and work
mm,
through it. But you don't have to do it
mm,
alone. You can do it with friends, family, or someone like myself.
mm, mm.
But as I said, it's not easy. It's not pretty.
I
Um,
know.
but if you can face the pain and sit with your feelings, acknowledge them for what they are, sit with them, let them come, let them, release whatever comes, and that's really the only way through it is
Yeah,
to
yeah.
feel. You just have
Mm,
to, and it's horrible because I think people want me to say, oh, if you do this, that, or the other, you'll be okay. But it does change you. You've lost a piece of yourself, but
mm,
you can come out the other side.
mm.
And like I said, it'll take time, but it is possible.
What made you go into this anyway? Did you lose a pet yourself?
I've lost a few over the years, but it was mainly seeing pets, like, losses at work.
Mm,
So I worked in a vet from 99 to 2016, 14.
mm,
And so I'd seen many a pet come and go, obviously that weren't mine, but I got to know the pets and the clients over the years, and some of the losses were expected and some were quite traumatic. I used to work in an emergency animal hospital, so we'd see patients coming in that had been hit by a car or attacked or, really horrific things happening.
mm,
And I I don't know. I just always had a way like of talking to people and help. I've always been
mm,
the friend that people talk to when they've got problems, and it got to a point where I just thought, without blowing my own trumpet or anything, I thought I'm actually okay, good at this.
mm,
I can talk to people and help them. And people have said to me, look, that really helped what you said. Thank
mm,
you. So I looked into it and I trained in it, and I keep training, doing extra courses,
mm,
and yeah, I just decided that, I couldn't bear the thought of anyone losing a companion
mm.
and not having anyone to talk to about it. It doesn't sit right with me,
Yeah.
you know.
The next question I want to ask you is going to be really morbid, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Because if you used to when you used to work in the vets,
Mm,
you used to get deaths,
mm,
pets, especially dogs and everything.
Mm.
What's the steps after that? Because you can't bring it back to life. So where do they go? What do they, where do they go? Do the vets kind of like stick them in a furnace and, um,
So it depends on the practice, because I think some veterinary practices have pet crematoria associated with their practice. So pets would go probably straight from the practice to the pet crematoria. If they don't and they're collected from the practice, then the pets are usually, wrapped up and put into a body bag, for want of a better phrase. That is what it is, and placed into cold storage, and then they're collected by the local pet crematoria. And then the pet crematorium will collect the pet, and then yeah, they'll do paw prints for
yeah,
cooking,
yeah, yeah,
whatever, and then yeah, they'll be
yeah.
cremated.
Because I thought, the idea I thought is when they go to the vets and they get put down, they just get chucked into a furnace or something. That's not right, is it?
It doesn't happen straight away, no. And to be fair, I suppose it is a furnace of sorts. Actually went down to Dignity Pet Crematorium in Winchester in Hook, and they actually showed me like how they perform cremations. They
Mm.
showed me like the I can't remember the technical name for it now, but it's like I suppose it is like a kiln, or
Mm.
and they showed me how it happens, and afterward, during and after.
Mm.
And it was so interesting, but it was obviously it's really sad because
Mm.
of what's happening. But I tell you honestly, it was so, I don't know, there was so much respect there.
Mm.
It's when you're saying it out loud and you're discussing what actually happens, it sounds quite horrific, but the actual process and everything is done with such respect and dignity for that pet,
Mm.
that it's not as morbid as it sounds, if you know see what I mean.
Right.
Just hearing
Okay.
it out loud. Mm.
I just wanted to kind of ask you that question because
Mm.
there were loads of rumors in the past,
Mm.
and the rumors, some rumors were like, do I believe it and do I believe this? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, um, if people want to contact you, how
Yeah.
do they contact you? And if they need help, how do they get some help from you?
Okay, well, I have a Facebook business page, Carrie Kearns, Pet Bereavement Counselling. I have a website, www.animalbereavementcounselling.com. And so you can contact me that way, or just you can even contact me via Messenger, email. Um, so yeah, if you want an appointment, literally just if you go on my website, or you can contact me via Facebook and either chat to me via Facebook or book directly off the website. You download the consent form, select the time and appointment type you would like, and then I get in touch with you and we arrange a date and time that's mutually convenient, and go from there.
Okay.
But I also offer, I've literally just started to offer like a free 10-minute chat, so you can
All
see
right.
whether you connect with me or not, because I think it's important that you connect with me and see if you're comfortable talking to me. And if so, then fine, we'll go ahead, book an appointment. If not, then I've got lots of friends in this business that I could refer you to if you felt that I wasn't the right fit for you. So yeah.
So, do you kind of like cover all pets?
Yeah,
Every
big,
single
small,
pet?
every single one. If you had a worm farm, if you were a zookeeper and you lost an elephant, or if you're a marine biologist and you got attached to a whale and it died, whatever animal you've lost, if that animal, and it doesn't have to be pets, if that animal mattered to you and their loss has affected you, then I'm here for you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a couple of questions before we go.
Hmm.
From a radio site. Okay. Hello, Kerry. Saying about elephants. Have you ever dealt with elephants before? And was it from a circus?
Do you know what? I haven't actually had a client with regarding a loss of an elephant. I have spoken to a zookeeper, but it was a fish that they lost, that they worked with. Um, but yeah, you know, elephants. I can imagine that the people that look after them and care for them do get attached, and when they pass, they do struggle. And also, a lot of zoos, I think, have counsellors on board to
Mm,
support the workers, because it's a different kind of bond, isn't it? It's with their pets, we're very hands on and in their space, and with zoo animals and circus animals, we're not as such.
yeah.
So yeah.
Hi, Kerry. I'm Richard. My child is 8 years old,
Mm.
fallen in love with a pet spider.
Oh,
The trouble is, the other day it died. We found it died. It died. The
right.
trouble is now we want to bury it, but we don't know what to do. The idea was my husband is not very clever enough to do anything, so he said he would bury it or put it down to the loo. Didn't,
Mm.
don't you think that is cruel?
Well, it's one way of doing it, but I think from the child's perspective, it's do you know what? This would be an ideal time to let your child be involved with the process. Like,
Yeah,
if you've
totally
got like
agree.
a little teen box, and then
Mm,
let your kid decorate it and hold a mini funeral if you wanted, and then your child's getting involved then, and they're able to say their goodbyes in a way that brings them some comfort and relief. And you just get like a box from the works, or a matchbox or something, and you know, let your child draw a picture or write a letter or hold a little service, and then just bury it in. Even if you've got like a big plant pot, buried it in the
mm,
plant pot and then put a nice plant on top,
yeah.
like forget me nots or a favourite flower. And then it's like a nice little tribute, and it probably means something to the kids as well.
Mm. Um, Mandy next. Hello, Kerry. What I did with my pet rabbit, I buried it in. I put it in with my mum's
Oh, lovely.
grave, so I
Mm.
can remember not only my mum but Roger the rabbit too.
Oh, that's such a sweet thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so two more, please. Okay. Sorry, there's loads of them coming in now.
All right.
It's coming off my radio site.
Oh, okay.
Uh, um, Luc- Lucinda says, "Hi, Kerry. I've got a snake.
Hmm.
Oh gosh, the snake passed away the other day, but the trouble is, at this moment in time, I don't really want to go in there because the other snake is having a go at it. Is this, is, does this happen, or am I going to find the snake been eaten or not? What?
Ah, it's a tricky one. I think it depends on the species of snake, but I
Yeah.
think I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't like to say for definite, but I would have thought that any bites would be more investigating rather than predation. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think once the one that's deceased has been removed from that environment, then the other one might settle down, and it might be under a little bit of I don't know if it's stressed, and that's why it's doing it. It's trying
Mm,
to figure out why its companion's not moving, and
mm.
maybe this is its way of trying to stimulate it. But I'm really not a herpetology,
No, no,
expert,
you're
so I'm
right.
kind of,
You're okay. You're okay. My little girl is just lost our dog, and we have buried it at a pet cemetery.
yeah.
They look after our pets very well. Yes, do agree, Kerry. Um, they are very good. My daughter actually went to the funeral and arranged it herself
Yeah.
and the family.
Oh,
We are thinking about getting another dog, but she doesn't
yeah.
want one yet because she said she's not over with her other one at this moment in time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, if they wanted, they could always let her look. She might change her mind if she saw some.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's really important to listen and validate her feelings and respect that. It depends on her age as well. But I think it's great that they're respecting her feelings, and um, allowing her to consent to taking on a new one, because that'll go a long way to helping her heal and cope with this.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry for that. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Um, I just left. I just lost my dog, border collie.
Mm.
7 years old.
Oh,
I need some counselling. Would it be possible if I can have your number?
yeah.
Because I'd like to contact you about a few issues I have with my children because it was my children's dog,
Yeah.
and they're lost without it. We
Oh,
tried buying them other pets, but they want the dog back.
oh, yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, okay, we will pass the numbers on, so don't worry about that. And we will put the link under the video when the video goes out. Anyway, Kerry, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank thank you for doing this, and
You're so welcome.
it's been really good. It's been really good about
Oh, thank you.
I think we need to love our pets more, and if we do lose a pet, afterwards,
Mm.
it's we might get we might lose something that we love very dear, but we always got the memories from it, and we with
Yeah,
our
we do.
pets.
We
We
do.
do, yeah. Thank you, Carrie,
Thank you.
and take care. Bye bye.
And you, thanks so much.
Hello there. Yeah. So, if you lost a pet, um, and you don't know what to do, let us know, and I will pass all the messages. Oh, sorry, all the messages on. Until next time. Bye bye.